Alright, first off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Shalom to the brothers in the highways and byways pushing this word in all sincerity and truth. The sisters, the believers, the helps. Shalom. This is your brother Iram from the Jimmy Mika camp, coming to another quick lesson. And this lesson was inspired by Psalms 119, the whole chapter. Was reading it earlier, and the spirit, you know, of that chapter, it's a very humble spirit, a very meek spirit, and I think that's a spirit that we should pray Yahweh Shem Yahshai, to always have on us, that spirit of calling, Yahweh Shem Yahshai to give us understanding, to have mercy upon us, to make us to walk in his testimonies, to always have respect unto his commandments and his statutes, and his judgments, because they are righteous. There's just that whole vibe of begging the Lord to to instill in you a righteous spirit, and a key thing that kept on repeating was having respect, unto the Lord's testimony, which is, when you look up the word respect, it goes back to pay attention to, and all of this, the commandments, the statutes, the judgments, the testimonies, the things of old, all of that is in the scriptures. All of that, we have the full scriptures. We can see, we have the prophecies, which are of future events, which highlights today, but we also have a lot of things from the past that we can learn from, because that's one of the ways how we pay attention to the Lord's testimonies. We look at things that happened in the past, and see how the Lord, whether he had judged our forefathers for doing something unrighteous, or whether he had delivered them for being righteous or for having that right spirit. That's something that we pay attention and we can learn from, and that's how we get understanding. So let me just read my first precept. This is Romans 15 verse 4. It says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." And that's the thing. That's how we learn to have patience. We've been blessed with the understanding of these scriptures, where we live in an unrighteous society, you know even though we are oppressed, even though we go through certain trials and affliction, and even though will be going through more trials and afflictions, as we're hastening the day, and as the Lord is close to his return, we're still comforted within spirit. We're still somewhat comfortable than the average Jake. Not comforting in the sense of carnally, or we find that this is our rest, but we are comforted in spirit, because regardless of what Jake want to do out there, and they may have money, or they may do this, or they may do that, or they may they have the glory of this world, you know they still aren't at ease within the spirit, you know and that's the thing. If we were living in ancient times, and living it with the following these commandments, then yet things would be good with us. But it's funny how, even though we aren't living in a righteous society, when we apply these principles and these scriptures to the best of our abilities, you know it's we have a way out, and it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, of course. We do everything through prayer. We always check with the Lord, through spirit, by what filtering everything that we say, think, and do through the words. And that's why people look at us like, hey, something is different about us, or how is it that you know that, or how is it that you do that? That's the reason why I know that there's a different vibe about us, if you will. you know because we walk in those paths, we walk in those precepts. So regardless of what's happening, we were kept in that word. And just as our forefathers were kept back then, to show that these scriptures are life, we are kept even unto this very day through those same words. All right. Hence it says what? That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. We know what is to come. And even in the days to come, even though we will be persecuted, even though we will, be afflicted, we know of the good which is to come after. So we still will, not forget the precepts. Lord willing, we're of those men. We of the hopeful elect. All right. Next precept is, just gonna make this real short. Jeremiah chapter 6 verse 16, it says, "Then said Yahweh, stand ye up in the ways, and see and ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein." And that's the thing, we are applying the precepts to the best of our abilities. And that's the thing, people will say, how is it that we things just seem somewhat, to them it seems easy, but we trying to live righteous in an unrighteous society. It is hard, but at the same time, the the how can I put this, things just always works out. Yeah, let me phrase it like that. And guess what, it's not that it just randomly works out, or it's of some coincidence or luck, you know it's because, we have the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. But it all starts with what? The fear of the Lord and Him having mercy upon us, where we are given the understanding of these words, and therefore, our spirit are quickened, and we operate through the spirit. That is why Yahushua said, look, it is the spirit that it is the spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are, how did I quote? Their spirit and their life. These words are spirit. Literally, these words, once you read them, once you understand them, once you digest them, in the mind, they do affect you. And the more you read them, the more you filter your thoughts through, and your actions and your words through them, the more things just always pan out. And this is hey, there's no wonder, another way you can look at the scriptures, they are a mystery. This way of life, this code of conduct, it's a mystery. It has always been, but only few that find it. And once you find it, everything is just, as Yahushua said, what I think in one of the precepts, he says, my cross is light, or my load is light. We of the hopeful, like we are untroubled in the mind when it comes on to certain things. We always comforted through the scripture. We are, even if we're in a jam, we always remember that all things is done through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Everything is according to the Lord's timing, and that is why, it also teaches, the scriptures also teach us to pray, so that we always have contact with the source. It always, of late, there were a few things that would just get to me right away, and then I realized that, at one point I was letting my flesh get the best of me. But as soon as I start, to remember that, hey, look, it's all about Yahweh Shem Yahushai. The moment I feel that anger coming up, I take a deep breath through the Spirit of the Lord, of course, and then I think about, like, hey, pray, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, handle this, Baba Kwasha, and just have faith that it will be handled. And then right away, that anxiety and that anger and that rage and that, that boiling up, it just goes. All of this is based off the fact that we understand these scriptures. When we see how our forefathers like David, Abraham, Yahushua, and the prophets, and our righteous forefathers, how they behaved, or how they operated when they were in difficulty, or when they were good, or whatever the situation is, we have that reference to go back to say, hey, look, this is the way. And a lot of our people don't have that, so we have to say, Kal Halal Yahweh Shem Yahushai, for giving us the understanding of these scriptures, for giving us this spirit. And that is why we need to pray for for Him to give us understanding through His words. Right? It says, ask for the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Right? And that's the thing. This is definitely rest for our souls, rest for our spirit. All right. Just gonna close out with one final precept, and I really hope that this is making sense. I really hope that is edifying. Let me close out with this. This is Job chapter 8. And I'll start at verse 8. It says, for inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, but our days are upon the earth as a shadow. Shall not they teach thee, and tell thee, and utter words out of their heart? Can the rush grow up without mire? Can the flag grow without water? Whilst it is yet in its green, and not cut down, it withereth before any other herb. So are the paths of all that forget the Most High, and the hypocrite's hope shall perish, whose hope shall be cut off, and whose trust shall be as a spider web. And that's the thing, I think the point would stop at verse 10, verse 10, where it says, shall not they teach thee, and tell thee, and utter things out of their heart? Because that's how we learn. If we, as the scripture says in verse 9, it says, for we are but of yesterday, and know nothing. If we been of yesterday, if we been on the earth for such a short time, learn have a great deal of understanding, or what seems to be a great deal of understanding based on our own experiences in this short level of time, how much more will we learn from the experiences of our forefathers who have been, long before? These are our thousands of years worth of experiences and knowledge and understanding and wisdom, which we can't even begin to comprehend. Even in the state of the fact that at a certain point they were a fully righteous society. Our forefathers were in a righteous society. The women were in order, children were in order. The lands, we actually owned lands, servants. Everything was intact. And it goes to show that it doesn't only work when things are so quote unquote in order, but if you understand these precepts and walk in them, regardless of how the situation is, you will be able to have a sure way out. Regardless of how it looks on the outside, or regardless of how the flesh might tremble. If you trust in these words and just let the Lord, trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushai by learning from the examples found in these scriptures, all will work out. And that's one of the ways how you trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not on your own understanding. So just like Psalms 119, we need to pray for Yahweh Shem Yahushai to instill, that spirit within us. The spirit of humility and this, surrendering to Him, in order, for Him to fashion us in His words, in His precepts, in His understanding, in His judgments, in His statutes and His commandments. Right? Make us unto a perfect man. So just wanted to share that with Akim and the Akawathiam. Once more I want to give all praises, honor and glory unto Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Bashar Makak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone rule well. Shalom to the brothers in the highways and byways pushing this word in all sincerity and truth. The sisters, the believers, the helps. Shalom.